to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. Now, he wanted to go abroad for further studies, and he was sure his grandmother would be upset. His grandmother was the one who would be hugely upset. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age one could never tell. And since he was going away for 5 years, he was uncertain about his grandmother. He was uncertain about the fact that she was already old, she was quite aged, and he was uncertain whether he would be able to see her again when he returned from there. But my grandmother could. But, author says, his grandmother could. His grandmother could assure that she would survive, that she would live to see him back. She was not even sentimental. And when he was leaving, he was going abroad there at the station, she did not look sentimental at all. She did not look emotional. She came to leave me at the railway station, but she did not talk or show any emotion. She came there at the railway station to see him off, but she did neither talk nor show any kind of emotion. That is, she didn't show any signs of weakness. Her lips moved in prayer. Her mind was lost in prayer. Her lips and her mind both were busy reciting the prayer, telling the prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. Her fingers were also busy telling the beads of the rosary. That is, she was completely absorbed in her prayer. She was not thinking of anything else. Silently, she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint as, perhaps, the last sign of physical contact between us. Then she silently kissed his forehead. She didn't speak a word. She was constantly saying her prayer, and she just kissed his forehead. He got the moist imprint. He got the moist sign, symbol on his forehead, and he cherished, and he thought happily about it. He was happy to get it because he believed, the author thought that perhaps that was going to be the last of her touch. Last touch from his grandmother. But that was not so. But that was not the case. That was not the last occasion when the author could touch his granny. After 5 years, when I came back home and was met by her at the station. That is, 5 years back, when he returned, he was received by, that is, Granny was there to receive him. He was received by Granny at the station. She did not look a day older. After 5 years, when he returned, he had a look at his granny, and she didn't look even a day older. The way he left her, he found her the same way. Her appearance, everything remained the same, and there was not a bit of change in her appearance. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. And still today, when he returned after 5 years, still she didn't speak a word. But when she clasped him, when she held him firmly, the author could hear the recitation of the prayer the prayer she was reciting. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer and with frivolous rebukes. Okay, even on the first day of author's arrival, after such a long period, after such a long time, her happiest moment was spent with the sparrows, and now she was feeding longer than ever. That is, earlier she used to feed these sparrows for half an hour during afternoon, but now she was spending more time with these sparrows. And not only that, she was even scolding, foolishly scolding the sparrows. That is frivolous rebuke. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. So a change took place in her attitude, in her behavior. And what she did not pray. That evening she did not pray at all. She collected, instead of praying, she collected all the women from the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. She collected all the women from the neighborhood, got a drum, managed a drum from somewhere, and started to sing. For several hours, she thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum and sang of the homecoming of warriors. And for hours, for several hours, for hours together, say for 3-4 hours, she kept on singing. She was singing the homecoming of the warriors, just like the way the warriors, after their victory in the war, were welcomed by the people, by the citizens of a kingdom, or the subjects of a kingdom. The same way she was singing the homecoming of her grandson. She was just beating the drum, the sagging drum, that is the loose drum, whose skin was loose, not very tight. That skin which is thumped, which is struck, that was loose, not that tight, so that it produced a nice sound. We had to persuade her to stop, to avoid overstraining. The family members on that day, some kind of change took. That was extraordinary change came over her, and here the family members had to object to it. They had to stop her from singing further, because for an old woman, for an old man or woman, it was too exhausting. That is, that such kind of exhaustion, such kind of work, physical labor could give trouble, and that's why they had to intervene. They had to stop her from singing and beating the drum. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray, and that was the first time in her life since the author was born. It was the first day that she did not pray. So this is all for now. Thank you.